Hello there, my wonderful friends and fellow General Hospital devotees. Welcome back to our shared space where we dive deep into the drama, heartache, and the suspense that has captivated us for decades. Let us get right into today's astonishing developments. As I sit back and reflect on the recent events unfolding in Port Charles, I find myself completely captivated by the sheer magnitude of the danger currently surrounding our beloved characters. For those of us who have watched General Hospital for decades, we are no strangers to the dark, shadowy world of the World Security Bureau, affectionately and sometimes fearfully known as the WSB. We remember the golden days of international espionage, the high-stakes thrillers that defined the 1980s, and the incredible sacrifices made by legacy characters like Anna Devane and Robert Scorpio. Today, we are witnessing a chilling resurgence of that very same danger. But this time, it is infecting a brand new generation, pulling innocent children and desperate mothers into a vortex of corruption, betrayal, and unspeakable violence. The situation at Windermere has escalated from a mere hostage crisis into a full-blown international intelligence nightmare, and the ripple effects are poised to shatter the lives of families we have loved and supported for years. Let us begin by looking at the incredible, albeit terrifying, bravery of Danny Morgan and Charlotte Cassadine. These are young teenagers, children who should be worrying about high school drama and impending exams. Yet here they are, actively attempting to sabotage the sinister plans of Ross Cullum. When I watch these two navigate the treacherous halls of Windermere, my heart is completely in my throat. We must remember the bloodlines that run through their veins. Danny carries the fearless, often reckless spirit of his father, Jason Morgan, combined with the stubborn determination of his mother, Sam McCall. Charlotte, on the other hand, is the heir to the complex, dark Cassadine legacy, possessing the sharp intellect of her father, Valentin, and the fierce independence of her mother, Lulu Spencer. Together, they represent a formidable underground effort to stop the massive conspiracies forming on Spoon Island. They are not merely sneaking around, they are engaging in active sabotage, trying to dismantle Cullum's operation from the inside out. I find myself asking, what drives a child to take on a ruthless WSB agent? It is a profound sense of legacy and a desperate need to protect their home, but it also highlights a tragic reality. The adults in their lives have failed to keep them safe from the monsters lurking in the shadows. The danger these children are in cannot be overstated, and it is this very danger that propels Valentine Cassadine into taking unprecedented and highly risky action. Valentine is a man who knows the darkest corners of the WSB better than anyone alive. He has operated as a mercenary, a spy, and a fugitive, and he recognizes that Ross Cullum is not just a corrupt agent, but a rogue operative who threatens to burn everything to the ground. In a move that truly showcases his desperation and his strategic brilliance, Valentine bypasses the local authorities entirely and secures a clandestine meeting with the mysterious head of the WSB, a powerful figure known only as Z. I was absolutely riveted by this development. Valentine warning Z that Cullum is a highly dangerous rogue agent elevates this entire storyline from a local Port Charles mystery to a top-tier intelligence crisis. Valentine understands that local police, even seasoned detectives like Dante Falconeri or Harrison Chase, are completely out of their depth when dealing with a sanctioned, albeit rogue, federal assassin. By bringing Z into the fold, Valentine is attempting to use the WSB's own massive bureaucratic weight to crush Cullum before Cullum can harm Charlotte or anyone else trapped in his web. The impending arrival of WSB Director Z in Port Charles is a monumental shift in the narrative landscape of General Hospital. We have heard whispers of the higher-ups in the Bureau for years, but to have the head of the organization personally step onto the canvas signifies that the situation has reached a critical, explosive mass. Z is not coming to our town for a friendly visit. He is coming to clean house. Along with Z, we are also bracing for the arrival of Agent Harker, another mysterious operative whose presence in Port Charles is directly tied to the catastrophic mess Cullum has created. I cannot help but wonder about the specific role Agent Harker will play in this unfolding tragedy. Is Harker an investigator sent to audit Cullum's unauthorized operations, or is he a cleaner, a lethal specialist dispatched by Z to erase all evidence of the WSB's catastrophic failures on Spoon Island? The introduction of these high-level intelligence figures creates an atmosphere of suffocating paranoia. No one in Port Charles is safe from their reach, and their sheer power makes our local heroes look terrifyingly vulnerable. But nothing, and I mean absolutely nothing, could have prepared me for the shocking, heart-stopping twist involving Jocelyn Jacks. We have watched Jocelyn endure a profound psychological breakdown while being held captive at Windermere. The writers have masterfully drawn chilling parallels between Jocelyn's current torment and the historical psychological trauma inflicted upon Anna Devane by the WSB many years ago. The threat of shipping Jocelyn to France for further mind control was terrifying enough, but the narrative has taken a turn so dark and so tragic that it leaves me completely breathless. The revelation that Jocelyn will be the one to kill Ross Cullum is a narrative earthquake that will forever alter the trajectory of her life. How does a bright, spirited college student transform into a lethal weapon? It appears that the relentless psychological torture, the sheer terror of her captivity, and the primal, desperate instinct to survive have pushed her past the point of no return. When I think about Jocelyn pulling that trigger, or taking whatever desperate action is required to end Cullum's life, I am overwhelmed with sorrow for the loss of her innocence. She is acting almost as a newly forged, albeit traumatized agent of the WSB in that singular, violent moment. This is a young woman who has grown up adjacent to mob violence through her stepfather, Sonny Corinthos, but she has always fiercely maintained her independence and her moral center. To have her hands stained with the blood of a federal agent, even a rogue one, is a tragedy of epic proportions. I find myself weeping for the psychological scars she will bear for the rest of her life. How will she look at herself in the mirror? How will she ever feel safe again? The writers have taken one of our most beloved young heroines and plunged her into an abyss of trauma that will require years of storytelling to unpack. It is brilliant, gripping television, but it is also profoundly heartbreaking for those of us who have loved her since she was a little girl. What makes Jocelyn's lethal action even more complex is how it plays directly into the cold, calculating hands of Z. As the head of the WSB, Z is a pragmatist who views human lives as mere pieces on a global chessboard. Cullum had become a massive liability, a rogue agent who was drawing far too much attention to the Bureau's illegal activities. By having Jocelyn eliminate Cullum, Z is handed a miraculous solution to a massive bureaucratic nightmare. The problem of the rogue agent is solved, and Z does not have to officially sanction an assassination or answer to an internal oversight committee. Jocelyn, in her desperate bid for survival, has inadvertently done the WSB's dirty work. It is a sickening realization that her profound trauma is viewed as a convenient resolution by the men in power. Z uses this tragic outcome to quietly resolve the immediate crisis in Port Charles, sweeping the horrors of Windermere under the rug of national security. But we all know that secrets in Port Charles are like ticking time bombs, and the truth of what Jocelyn was forced to do will eventually detonate. This brings us to the fierce, unstoppable force of nature that is Carly Spencer. Carly's maternal instincts are legendary. She is a lioness who will tear apart anyone who threatens her cubs. We already know that she completely ignored Valentine's stern warnings to back off, driven by an agonizing primal need to find her daughter. Carly is marching directly into the heart of the WSB's most dangerous operation, entirely unaware of the blood that has just been spilled. When she discovers the horrific truth of what Jocelyn has endured and the violent act she was forced to commit, Carly's world will shatter. But the tragedy does not end there. The narrative reveals that Z, having used Jocelyn's desperate act to clean up the WSB's mess, is now turning his calculating gaze toward Carly. Z requires a new action from her, a demand that threatens to spark a massive new explosion of drama and danger in our beloved town. I am left to ponder the terrifying implications of Z's demand. The head of the WSB does not make polite requests. He issues ultimatums backed by the full lethal weight of the federal government. Z holds the ultimate leverage over Carly, the freedom and the life of her daughter. Jocelyn has killed a federal agent, and regardless of Cullum's rogue status, Z can easily frame Jocelyn for murder if Carly does not comply with his wishes. What could Z possibly want from a woman like Carly? Does he want access to Sonny Corinthos' underground network? Does he want her to use the Metro Court as a front for WSB operations? Or does he want something far more personal and devastating? Carly is a woman who has survived mob wars, kidnappings, and profound grief, but she has never faced an adversary with the institutional power and cold detachment of Z. She is trapped in an impossible position, forced to dance to the tune of a master spy in order to keep her traumatized daughter out of a federal penitentiary. The emotional weight of this storyline is simply staggering. We are watching the systematic destruction of a family's peace of mind, orchestrated by faceless bureaucrats who view Port Charles as nothing more than a sandbox for their intelligence games. Carly will undoubtedly fight back. She always does, but the cost of this war will be astronomical. If she is forced to carry out Z's new action, she will inevitably have to lie to her loved ones, betray her own moral code, and perhaps even alienate the very daughter she is trying to save. The explosion of new drama that this will cause is guaranteed to ripple through every single family connected to the Spencers and the Corinthos clan. It is a masterclass in escalating tension, and I am entirely here for every agonizing, beautiful minute of it. As we look ahead, the landscape of General Hospital is forever changed. The brave but reckless actions of Danny and Charlotte have exposed the rot at the heart of the WSB's presence in our town. Valentin's desperate gamble to bring in Z has backfired in the most spectacular and tragic way possible, replacing a rogue agent with the cold, unyielding machinery of the entire intelligence apparatus. The arrival of Z and Agent Harker casts a long, dark shadow over the harbor, promising a new era of surveillance, manipulation, and high-stakes danger. But it is the tragic transformation of Jocelyn Jacks and the impossible burden placed upon Carly Spencer that will anchor this storyline in our hearts. We are witnessing a profound exploration of trauma, maternal sacrifice, and the devastating loss of innocence. I, for one, will be glued to my television screen, praying for the safety of our cherished characters and marveling at the incredible storytelling that continues to make General Hospital a vital, beating heart in our daily lives.